This is Riley Porter with Seattle Sumo. This is a commentary track for Day 3 of the Haru 1960 Basho. Official coverage for this tournament can be found on the Japan Sumo Association's YouTube channel. It's Showa 35, third month, March. And any coverage beyond Day 1 is locked behind a membership wall, and I believe membership right now runs for about $8 a month. Without further ado, I'll give instructions and we'll begin. I'll count down from 3, 2, 1. As I hit the N in 1, you'll click the video. I'll click at the same time and we should be synchronized. Now, without further ado, 3, 2, 1. Futabayama, Taiho, Shiano Fuji, Archive. Alright, first up we have Churyo regular Myobudani, tall man from Miyagino stable, against Atagoyama at the very bottom of the Maegashira. Myobudani, a very light wrestler. Oikawa comes in low, hits the chest. Myobudani hits right back, but loses his footing there. Ends up hopping to the side, and Atagoyama finishes him off with a big shove. So Atagoyama picks up his second win. Now, Kiyonomori from Araiso stable, a student of the former Teru no Kuni, against seasoned veteran Narutoumi. Both kind of similarly built to Dikishi, tall, slender. Narutoumi is the more experienced of the two, so gets a thrusting away on the throat of Kiyonomori, who returns the favor, tries to get a stick to the belt, and now it's Migiyotsu inside right. Narutoumi, of course, doesn't have an outside left yet, so Kiyonomori keeps an advantageous position, wheels around. Narutoumi tries to catch the leg. Now Kiyonomori tries for a throw, Nuwate Nage, and it appears to me that Narutoumi was crushed out first, and it looks like there will be no Mono-e. So Kiyonomori picks up his second win. Hanada, his Makunochi debut, has 2 straight wins so far, looking good against Yoshinomine, lightweight man from Takashima. So Hanada dives in low. Yoshinomine catches him on the throat and jaw, but Hanada doesn't take a step back. He just keeps moving forward and sends Yoshinomine out of the ring. So Hanada's 3rd straight win on his Makunochi debut, looking great. Young man from Kasugano. Kane no Hana against Uragawa. Uragawa in his 2nd Makunochi Basho, yet to get a winning record. So Kane no Hana comes in much lower, gets the thrusting on the chest. Uragawa catches his belt, and now they're locked in the middle here. Uragawa's getting edged out. Kane no Hana doesn't have a belt grip as of yet, but it has secured himself behind the arm of Uragawa. Uragawa with a nice inside, but he's been flipped over. Kane no Hana pushes on the upper body and pivots to his right, sends Uragawa toppling sideways and secures his 2nd win. So Kane no Hana not doing too bad for himself. He's a younger wrestler from Deiwanoumi, still shaping up, but has some promise, certainly well built, got potential. Now Hane Nishiki from the Takashima stable against Tsune Nishiki. Hane Nishiki has a 6-2 lead on Tsune, and they're head-to-head, so odds are in his favor. They both have a wrapped elbow, wrapped wrists. Pretty similar position. Hane Nishiki gets that inside left. And Tsune Nishiki is doing reasonably well to keep his belt away, at least the remainder of it. Very stretched out here against Hane Nishiki, who's very slowly inching his way forward. He's got his right very high up. Not in the best position. Tsune Nishiki's carefully working his way in. Pulls out to the side, tries for a throw, but Hane Nishiki catches himself. They're still locked up in the middle here. Hane Nishiki wants that outside right. He's searching for it, but Tsune is watching his belt, keeping his hips back, and probably looking for another opportunity to drive in. I think he's happy with his inside right. And now he tries for a scoop, and then a throw to follow up, but no good. Hane Nishiki stays on his feet, keeps himself in front, and crushes out Tsune Nishiki. Now, it looked to me, I hope I'm not mistaken, but it looked to me like the Gyoji pointed the way of Tsune Nishiki, and it looks like that was the case since the Shimpan are now taking the stage. So I'm not sure what the Gyoji saw. There are many of these uchari attempts, these backward pivot throws on the ring's edge, but more often than not, they don't really amount to much besides a show of effort. Good effort, of course. So it looks like a tori naoshi. They were ruled to have landed outside at the same time. We'll see how this one plays out. I think that Hane Nishiki will want to make up for the last attempt by getting his outside grip much faster. Closing the distance. So he blows into Tsune Nishiki's chest. He's working his arms inside. He's got that outside left, but Tsune Nishiki still committed to guarding his belt and working from down low. Hane Nishiki catches his arms and he's trying to wrench him sideways, but Tsune Nishiki keeps his footing, moves into Hane Nishiki as he tries to throw it. Hane Nishiki tilts backwards and collapses. So Tsune Nishiki picks up his third win against Hane Nishiki in 9 bouts. So he beat the odds, stuck to his strategy, stuck to his good low stance, guarded his belt well, and it paid off for him. So Tsune Nishiki picks up his first win at his highest rank. We'll see if that is a sign of good fortune for this boss show. Waka no Kuni, in his third top division outing against Shinobuyama, experienced veteran. Shinobuyama gets to the throat, but Waka no Kuni had the same idea. So high up thrusting, Waka no Kuni gets back to it. He's shoving on the chest. Shinobuyama bends and weaves, and now he's locked up on the arm of Waka no Kuni. Jockeying for position, Waka no Kuni wants to get to the belt, but Shinobuyama's got him locked up high, while he maintains a low stance and then moves to shove in. Waka no Kuni braces, moves back to the middle. So now they're back in the center of the ring, jockeying for position. Neither one has a belt grip yet. So the impetus of Waka no Kuni's attack is gone. I think at this point, the more experienced Shinobuyama, as long as he stays cool, can finish this. And he moves in, tries to grab the leg. Waka no Kuni tries to make something work with that outside grip, but ultimately just walks Shinobuyama to the edge so that Shinobuyama can finish him off. So Shinobuyama picks up his third straight win. He's looking good here, near the bottom of the Maegashira. Waka no Kuni, his second loss, so a difficult opponent to be sure. He might still be cut out for a Kachikoshi. Shinobuyama showing that his experience counts for something, even at this late stage of his career. Oikawa against Waka Misugi. Waka Misugi, another up-and-comer from Hanakago. Oikawa, a little more experienced in this top division, but he's never risen very far. He's a lower Maegashira regular, so someone that, well, I suppose they're relatively evenly matched. So Waka Misugi gets to slamming, just to start striking the chest, and Oikawa sticks to him, closes the distance. Waka Misugi, undeterred, stays on his feet and flips over Oikawa. So I couldn't really see any belt contact. Looked like a scoop throw, Suinage to me. Waka Misugi gets his second win. Oikawa, his second loss. So we have Waka Chichibu. Very young man, despite his size. He's only 20. In the prime of his youth, here against Tokitsuyama. In his 30s. Well past his prime, but still has plenty of fight in him. comes in low to push up on Waka Chichibu. Waka Chichibu secures that inside left. Hitsuyama does well to guard his position, and once Waka Chichibu goes to close the distance and shove him out, Tokitsuyama just very deftly shifts to the side, and Waka Chichibu ends up walking out of the ring. So that's the second time this basho we've seen Waka Chichibu get slipped. Shows perhaps he might need a little bit more patience in his finishing drive. Tokitsuyama gets his second win of the basho, looking good at his low rank. Tamahibiki and Fukudayama. Tamahibiki comes in low. Fukudayama is trying to fish in for a belt grip, but Tamahibiki's doing well to guard himself. He's stuck his head under Fukudayama's jaw. Now he's trying to work a grip of his own, staying under the pits of Fukudayama. I think he wants to drive him out from here. Fukudayama at this point, I think, is desperate for some kind of grip. He's caught up high and doesn't have a lot to work with. Tamahibiki goes in to finish him off, but Fukudayama pulls back, pushes down on the back of Tamahibiki and sends him pancake style to the floor. So Fukudayama picks up his second win. Looking good. Something of a Juryo regular, Fukudayama. Not one of the more talented men at Dewano Umi overall in this top division, but plenty of fighting spirit. He's a hard worker and showing good sumo. Matsunobori, the big man from Oyama stable, against Aono Sato, relative newcomer from Tokitsukaze. So Matsunobori comes in hard to the chest, moves forward. Aono Sato saves himself at the edge, works himself back in. Now he's got Matsunobori on the edge. Matsunobori is tenacious, gets work to the other side, and then that's when Aono Sato finishes him off, throwing him down to the clay. So Aono Sato did well to withstand the attack, the initial charge of Matsunobori, and then worked himself into a more favorable position to pull the throw down. So a smart move by the younger wrestler here. Younger, though slightly higher ranked. Kaizon from Nishonoseki against Waka Mayeda, one of the bigger men in this division, from the Takasago stable. So Kaizon catches him, gets an inside right, outside left, but Waka Mayeda puts his weight to use, bears down on Kaizon, and finishes him off. Yorikiri. Waka Mayeda, a very powerful wrestler. Once upon a time, he looked like a real Ozeki candidate, but the moment has passed. That was a couple years ago now. But he's still only 29, at the peak of his power, and shows exactly how dangerous he can be when he gets himself in position, picking up his first win in good fashion today. Now the Shimpan are shuffling out. Change of the guard, as it were. Ogi no Hana, one of the younger men from Dewano Umi. Fuji Nishiki, Wakamatsu's pusher. And Ogi no Hana gets to his grip before Fuji Nishiki can get to pushing. Deep inside right. And he's got that outside left fixed on too, so this is certainly his style of sumo. His belt's relatively loose too, so Fuji Nishiki not given quite as much to work with. Now they're locked up here. Yotsuzumo, they're waiting for their moment. One for the other to change their breathing, break their stance. Fuji Nishiki goes in for it. Ogi no Hana braces himself, tries to finish him off, but no dice. They're back in the middle now. And Ogi no Hana goes to finish him off, but Fuji Nishiki braces himself on the bales, hooks his heels into the Tawada, arches his back, and plants Ogi no Hana outside the dohyo. So these two wrestlers, both 24, both debuted in Hatsu 52. Hatsu 1952, that is. But Fuji Nishiki proves that he's at the top of his class and secures his second win here on day 3. It's looking very solid. It shows that he can work on and off the belt. Yeah, Waka Mayeda, Hanakago veteran, one of the original generation of Hanakago wrestlers that left Nishonoseki with Waka no Hana, here against Iwakaze, Fuji Nishiki's stablemate. They start low. Iwakaze is pretty good at catching his opponent low in the tachiai, and then works his way up, has that inside right, and hoists Waka Mayeda out. So Waka Mayeda, his third straight loss. Iwakaze gets his second win, so both Wakamatsu wrestlers looking good today. Waka Mayeda struggling in his second consecutive Komusubi outing. At this rate, it looks like he'll be heading back down to the Maegashira, but still, it's only the first third. Toshi Hikari, a Komusubi in great form against Taiho, rising star at a very high rank for his second basho. So Toshi Hikari comes in low. Taiho tries to get to thrusting. Now he's on the outside right. So he's evidently able to handle Toshi Hikari. Toshi Hikari is a little better open, so this might favor Taiho, who's in a decent position inside left. Both being patient here. Locked up in the middle. And Toshi Hikari beat Asashio where Taiho could not, and has been in good form this basho, so certainly in my mind he's the favorite for this match overall, but Taiho is pretty effective in the grapple. He's very well built. A tall wrestler, but has not really able to utilize his height at this stage. I mean, he's already locked up on the belt. Yeah, neither one can get the other to break. Toshi Hikari certainly seems at a better angle, a little lower than Taiho. Now Taiho's trying to inch his way into something here. Based on the placement of his feet, it feels like he's maybe wanting to do some kind of shitate throw. And no dice. He does try for something, but Toshi Hikari reacts well. Pops that outside left and tosses down Taiho with Uwatenage. So Toshi Hikari picks up his third straight win and is in great form this basho. He ended last year on something of a failed Ozeki run, so he's shown potential for a much higher rank and is proving that here. So we'll see if he can make good on maybe another attempt at Ozeki this year. Gold belter Tama no Umi, yet to pick up a win against Sekiwake Anenyama, also yet to pick up a win. Now Tama no Umi has a slight edge in their rivalry, 10-8. He catches Anenyama high, arms outstretched, then hooks his left around Anenyama and tosses him out, Kotenage. So Tama no Umi, the oldest man in this division, picks up his first win. Smartly played, and improves his head-to-head with Anenyama. Now it's 11-8. So Tama no Umi proving that age is just a number and experience counts for a lot. Now Kitabayama, the Sekiwake in the best shape so far, you could argue, against Dewa Nishiki. Dewa Nishiki comes in sort of slow, catches Kitabayama high. He's in that sort of kachiage action, that forearm to tilt him up, but Kitabayama's not giving away. He's got that deep inside right and a shallow left His head buried in Daiwa Nishiki's chest, so he looks like in a prime position to drive. And he tries for a throw. Daiwa Nishiki's got good balance, doesn't let himself get taken out. He's leaning on Kitabayama. Daiwa Nishiki's the much heavier of the two. I think as this match goes on, he's sapping the power of the younger man. What to do? I think Kitabayama will want to just get another Yori drive going. He's very deep double inside now. And he lifts, twists, and plants Daiwa Nishiki outside. A little worrisome for a moment there. It was really sort of a very backwards kind of motion. Rather than shove Daiwa Nishiki forward and out, he decided to make an adjustment, having failed on that drive already, and went for a tilting motion, a backward tilting motion at Tsuri, the back arching lift. So Kitabayama, smart wrestler, makes an adjustment mid-bout, and it pays off. Now Kita no Nara, a former Sekiwake against Shin Sekiwake Kashiwado. Kita no Nara's got a speedy Tachiai, and so does Kashiwado. They meet in the middle. Hands thrusting, the Sagari's in the way, but now it's out. Kita no Nara gets on the inside, and it looked to me that in spite of Kita no Nara's aggressive attack, he couldn't quite stick inside far enough of Kashiwado, and so ended up falling down ahead of him as they hit the ring's edge. Looks like Kashiwado here is very slow to rise. Very, very slow to rise. Oh, hopefully he's okay. Kita no Nara remains next to the audience here, trying to help him up. And the Yojis come over to check it out. Plenty of photos. And there he is. Looks like he's in a lot of pain. But he's nodding. Looks like he's in Miyagi no Oyakata's lap there. And he's up on his feet. So, he's awarded the win. Takes the Kenshoken. Well, he's not limping. Might have gotten the wind knocked out of him. Hopefully something relatively superficial. He's a young man. Got plenty of time, so you'd hate to see his career cut short by an injury. Fuji Nishiki on his Komusubi debut against Waka Haguro in his, I believe his third or second Ozeki outing. Oh no, this will be his third. His first, he won a championship. His second, he got a 7 and 8, and this is his third. So very inconsistent at this high rank. But this basho, he's been looking pretty strong. He's on form. So I would expect him to be the favorite in this match. Fuji Nishiki, he's put up some good numbers, but he's still a relative newcomer to this top division at a very high rank, so struggles are to be expected. We'll see how he does here. Waka Haguro a good ways back. Catches Fuji Nishiki, who rushes into him to grab that outside right. He's wrenching up the Ozeki, who fixes his position up, but still can't really generate much of an offense. Fuji Nishiki is doing all the going here. Waka Haguro is getting rocked. They separate. Fuji Nishiki runs right back into him and finishes him off. So Fuji Nishiki, aggressive, doesn't let the Ozeki get into his groove, and finishes him off with a big shove. So Fuji Nishiki moves to 2-1. So does Waka Haguro. His perfect start comes to a close. Fuji Nishiki is a pretty strong wrestler, despite being relatively new to the division. Got a couple of runner-up performances so far. Kotogahama against Naruyama. They were pretty close in their head-to-head. Kotogahama's got an edge, 7-6. They're both starting in a middling, 1-1. Kotogahama gets that outside right quickly. He's keeping his hips back. Naruyama's already got that inside left, and he wants the outside grip. His hand is floating around Kotogahama's belt, looking for it. Inches a little closer. A little closer. Kotogahama takes a little step back, maintaining that distance. Now, Naruyama looks like he maybe wants to shake the grip. Kotogahama's outside right. Well, he barrels in. No good. Still can't get that outside right. Kotogahama's looking increasingly comfortable here as he frustrates Naruyama's efforts to secure a better position and work on a force out. They've been locked up here in the middle for a little while now. Kotogahama's game plan is not exactly clear, but he is good with his leg work, offensively and defensively, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to trip up Naruyama as he moves in for the kill. Certainly doesn't seem overly interested in getting his own drive going. Naruyama goes for the outside leg trip, Sotogake, and finishes off Kotogahama. So Kotogahama, despite all the patience and defensive work, gets taken out in the end by a leg trip that I had thought he would pull. But Naruyama, technically adept, all his own, gets the win. That's his second win. So Onogawa stable, having a good day. Now, Tsurugamine. Nagashira 2 against Yokozuna Asashio. They have an even rivalry. 6 wins apiece in their head-to-head. They're both 1 win apiece in this tournament. Tsurugamine rushes in. Asashio catches him. But Tsurugamine has already got that deep inside left, and he's popping and pushing and crushes out Asashio. So Tsurugamine knew what he wanted to do. Moved in very quickly. Asashio couldn't quite react quick enough. And Asashio got to that Gaburi movement, really popping his hips. And Asashio couldn't get his footing, so Tsurugamine takes the edge in their head-to-head. 7 wins in their 13 bouts together. So Tsurugamine looking good. Showing speedy adept sumo. He's about 30. Well, it looks like he might have cracked his nose open there, trying to shoot the blood out. Tochi Nishiki. Shio Nishiki. Well, Tochi Nishiki's got a 9-0 lead on Shio Nishiki in their head-to-head, so on paper, this is a pretty one-sided affair. And in practice, well, it's not practiced, obviously. They didn't sync up on that first attempt there, so they'll go back down to their Sankyo, and we'll try again. Now Shio Nishiki dives in, tries for that Kubinage neck throw, but Tochi Nishiki secures that inside left and drives forward, finishing Shio Nishiki without too much issue. So Shio Nishiki looked a little more certain of what he wanted to do this time out. In yesterday's bout, he seemed a little uncertain of his tachiai, but Tochi Nishiki, ever the master of technique and utilizing experience, just gets to work on some good old Yotsuzumo. Doesn't really need the belt. Just focuses on closing the distance and moving towards the edge of the ring. Tochi Nishiki, 3-0. Perfect start. Waka Hana, 2-0. Perfect start so far. Against O Hikari. An opponent who has only beaten him once in over 10 meetings together. So odds are not in his favor. A little half hop out. Waka no Hana's already deep inside, pushing up on the chest, and finishes off Ohikari in what turned out to be a somewhat predictably one-sided affair. So Waka no Hana, a perfect 3 to start this basho, keeps pace with Fuji Nishiki. Our third Yokozuna, Asashio, is struggling in what is usually his best outing of the year, so prospects aren't great. Well, thank you for joining me for day 3.